Coach, just a year, obviously, like any other. We're playing in the spring. Just thoughts on you and your team, and then we'll go into questions.
Great. No, I'm excited about playing this spring. I think our players are excited about playing, seeing their, they come to practice every day, and I guess we're going to kind of walk through number 8 today. So that's been fun. I've enjoyed being around it. Our players have seen other teams compete in the fall and playing bowl games and national championships. So they're looking forward to taking advantage of this opportunity, the small window that they have of their career. So we got a lot of guys back on offense, so we're excited about the experience we have there. Some inexperience on defense in a lot of spots, but we think we've got some good players, and we're excited to go compete.
Thank you, Coach. Again, media questions for Coach Simpson, let me know down in the chat, and I will call on you. Let's start with this, Coach, and a couple of the other coaches have been asked this. We're going to play on Sundays, so how does that feel? And then the second part is this a chance to showcase the FCS? Because there's no FBS, there's no NFL going on when we're playing.
Well, yeah, it does mess my Sunday school attendance up. I will say that, but we'll work through that. My pastor forgives me, but no, I do think it's good. I understand why we're doing it. With basketball, and then the attention that if it gives these players a feel good and some more notoriety, then I'm all for it.
And do you think then that there will be eyeballs on your team? Maybe they would never watch a UT Martin team because they just love football. Maybe they're an Alabama fan. They're just looking for a game to watch. Does that?
Well, that sounds great to me. I hope you write it up like that and get us in front of a lot of people. But no, it certainly gives us an opportunity that we would have never had before. I mean, we all know how on Saturdays, there's so many games on television, and probably the people that are watching UT Martin are family and friends of our players. So those that will still get that attendance, and then those that need a football fix, maybe they'll follow our OVC schools and become OVC fans. So there's certainly an opportunity there.
One more and I'll be quiet then. Does it help with recruiting? One coach talked about recruiting, and now it's Zooms, you're not in person. Is there a chance, hey, these recruits now can watch you play maybe more, and you're the only game in town? Or have you found other things that may be harder or easier with your recruiting so far?
No, I don't think the Zooms will go away. I think that's here to stay because of the different opportunities that creates. I do think that people in certain regions will get to watch us, that maybe would have never watched us before from a recruiting standpoint. Now, still miss the in-person, contacts that you'd like to have with certain recruits, to make sure that it's the right fit for both sides. Still miss that, but that's the way it's set right now, and everybody's got to make the best of it.
All right, let's go to some questions. And Jeff Bidwell, you're up first.
Jason, what has been maybe the one thing that you have had to adjust to in the last 9 months that maybe you will keep moving into the future? Maybe something that was out of necessity, and you're like, this actually works well for us.
Right. I think first and foremost, what is the technology, the Zoom meetings, and being able to market your program or recruit that way. I think that will continue to go forward. It's you don't know how many times, and even before I came up here, players would drop by my office and say, "Are we still playing? Or are we still playing?" I can't speak for everybody. I just know it's created a different. I've always felt like I was a player's coach and kind of a father figure, but maybe even more because of the world today, the uncertainty for these players. I think it's brought. I know in our building, I feel like it's brought us all closer. We all loved football in the past, and we played here at UT Martin. We had that in common, but now the desire to have a football season is something that we have in common. The desire to stay safe and avoid the virus, and we all have that in common. So I see a lot of some closeness in our program that's grown through this.
There's almost something romantic about those 2 days in the summers and beating through the heat to get conditioning, and now you're playing in the winter, and obviously it's not there's not a foot of snow on the ground. But how does your conditioning plan change and trying to make sure you guys are ready to go in a month?
You know what? That's probably been, Jeff, the biggest. I don't have a handle on that yet because, I don't, scientific wise, how much is enough conditioning wise, when it's 30 degrees out there, where you can't just sit indoors and then all of a sudden you're 2 weeks out from a game. But then again, there is a certain amount of conditioning that's required to be able to play this game at a high level. I would tell you that's one thing that I struggle with on a daily basis is how much is enough and how much is not enough, because yeah, we've got our share of more than our normal share of pulled hamstrings and pulled groins and things. And yeah, it is because of the weather.
In terms of your coaching staff situation, what's going on there, and how quick can we get that remedied?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I knew was a possibility, but there's a coaching carousel that still goes on in this profession during, January and February of teams that have played in the fall. And so, not ready, I'm sure they'll release the names as they go forward, but, lost the DB coach last week to Arkansas State, lost a guy yesterday to Georgia as an analyst role, and we're going to lose another one next week. So that's difficult on the program. That's difficult on the players, and my job is to get that remedied so we can get back out here to practice, because that's not the kids. That's no excuse. The scoreboard's going to still keep score February 21st.
Last one for me, just I guess in terms of on the field, what's your biggest priority in the next 30 days or so to make sure you guys are ready for EIU?
It's been a little bit different, Jeff, because I've been able to do these walkthroughs earlier, right? Normally, you don't get to those. Normally, kids are doing conditioning in the summer, and then all of a sudden you get to you get to practice and everything's broken up of install and fundamentals and stuff. Well, for us, we just been, installation wise and conditioning. And so it's kind of neat to look up and you're like, wow, I can't believe we got all this stuff in and completed. Now we got to learn how to block and tackle and, carry on some fundamentals. So that'll be the next phase, the conditioning and the fundamentals of just playing the game, blocking and tackling when we start practice on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Let's go to Mike Paris next.
Well, since I've known you for a long time, I can back up that you probably need to be in Sunday school or church on Sundays before you go to a game. So I'll start.
I think my hair is getting more gray than yours now.
Mine's white, man. What are you talking about? Jeff touched on this a little bit with some of his questions. Is there a different approach? I mean, here you are in the spring. Normally when you start 2 days, there's no classes. You've got classes to deal with and things. So with all that factored in and playing in the spring for the first time, is it a different approach than you would normally have?
To me, it is. I don't know what everybody else's answer would be, but to me it is. But you're right. Like I alluded to, right? You've got these walkthroughs and conditioning now, right? So your installation, you're farther along than you normally would be. At least we are, right? But you are still fighting like I said, the scientific approach of what's best with the weather. There's no indoor here, right? So we're outside every day, and then it's a weird coming to work and the kids are in class, where normally, right, you got 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks of where it's basically just football and you're spending all that time together and all that chemistry is built, within your team and the strain and the different things of attacking the grind in practice. So it is a different deal. But I will say this, there's a lot of positives that come out of it. It really is. And the positive, Mike, that like I said earlier, that I see is we want to coach. More importantly, the kids want to play, and they want to play. And and I'm sure every OVC head coach has said this to their team. Hey, the calendar says you can win 2 conference championships in 1 year, right? In 2021, and the old proverbial, hey, control what we can control, and that's more than ever. And guess what? Now we're going to practice. You're running third team or fourth team. Well, you saw what happened in the fall when we were losing guys to contact tracing or virus. You don't know who's going to be there on Saturday or Sunday. When we play, when you get those results back on Friday, is there going to be some luck involved? Absolutely. Is there got to be some sacrifices that have to be made by your team in order to keep guys on the field? Absolutely. I mean, you saw, as you watched the national championship game and you saw Coach Saban and kind of the relief and emotional things that you don't necessarily see from him in a national championship team because of the sacrifices that they made over a 12-week season. Our team will certainly have to approach it the same way.
Last thing, this is more of a personal note, I guess, in the season. I understand you've got a son that's going to play college football somewhere and being recruited. What's it like being on the other side of it, where you got somebody coming after you now instead of you approaching somebody?
You know what? It's been, golly, I guess it's been going on for about 3 years now, and I guess it's coming to a, within the next year, and probably make a commitment here in the next month or so. But for him, for Ty, but no, it's been good professionally. It's been good. Met a lot of people. You ask yourself, who do you want your child to play for? Who do you want your child to be influenced by? Who do you trust to take your child? There's a lot of, you got a lot of friends, right? But there's also a certain thing as a mom and dad of who you want your child to be surrounded by. That's been different. And then from a professional standpoint, you know what, Mike, here's the deal. If you wanted to get him on the phone, you had to give me, at least one play that I could get a few yards off of. So, we did make some trades in the deal.
So you may have some personnel we don't know about yet, right?
I should have put that in there too. I probably needed some transfers from some places. That didn't work out though, like I needed it to.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, man. Good to see you.
You too.
If anybody else has a question, use the chat and we'll put you down there. Coach, I don't know, if you can remember back to November of 2019, I know that's a lot's happened since then. You all finished that season and you had a much better year than 2018. And I know there's been time in there. How do you take that next step in and keep that momentum and keep doing what you all have done instead of, maybe regressing a little bit?
That's a great question. We personally felt like the 2018 was it was a great learning experience. It was a very humbling experience. The worst season in the 14 years that I've been here, and it was put it on my shoulders. I got to coach better and get the team to perform better. But we felt 2019, like I said, that was a normal finish for us. And so I think you realize different injuries can play a part in the success or a lack of success of a season, taking care of the football, turnovers and things, and how important those are. Sometimes it just kind of reaffirms, Kyle, to the kids, coach speak. Right? You don't take winning for granted. You don't take the workouts for granted. You don't take the practice for granted. Everything matters. Everything counts when you're trying to get back in that conference race. So I thought our kids did a nice job getting back to that and, getting back to the standard that we played with over a decade here.
We're going to have one of your quarterbacks, John Bacchus, join us in a sec. Talk about him though, and like what he's done in his freshman season was obviously pretty good for you.
It was. John's a good player. We like our quarterback situation with John, and of course Dresser started several games here in the league and was hurt last year. But John, won the job the spring before. He's a competitor first and foremost. He loves football. He loves to practice. He's very instinctive passer. He's very tough. He'll stand in the pocket. He'll throw with people standing in his face. So we feel very blessed and very good about our quarterback situation. So. We need John to have another, outstanding year. Just like any young player, right? There's things that and he's hard on himself that he wants to improve on. But he is a great team guy too. He's not a statistics guy, and if he needs to throw for 300 for us to win, or if he needs to, to scramble on the fourth down to get the first down to put a game away, he'll do that for us as well. So we think he's a good player.
Last one for you, Coach, and then we'll transition. You mentioned it a little bit earlier. It's pretty obvious, but how important is it to have multiple experienced players and some depth? Because you could go into a game and somebody test out and not be able to play, and just to be flexible. So talk about that and how that relates to your team and some of the positions maybe you have a lot of depth in and some that you maybe don't.
Well, you could argue back and forth, Kyle, that, having experienced players is very important. But having talented, experienced players is probably more important for me. But no, that will be, because you're older guys, right? They know what to expect on a game day. Okay, so now you take a younger player that hasn't played a whole lot, that even though they are talented, right? They're still a freshman, right? They're still going to class and the travel and the game for the first time. So. There's no coach's manual for this. There's not. I may be as Bob was saying, the dean of the league or whatever, coaching head coach for 15 years in this conference. But we'll all handle this differently. We'll all, I'm sure every head coach will, whatever fits his personality and fits his team, of how you practice. I've still, how do you practice when normally, right? For us, the first team, second team, gets the reps, and the third team, fourth team, right, it's on scout team. Well, now your third team guy may play on Sunday. So, and you won't know that until Friday. So what does that do to your game plan? What does that do? So my personal opinion, anybody that tells you they've got all those answers, they're a lot smarter than me, because I don't see how you do until you go through it.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time this morning, and best of luck to your team this season.
Hey, thanks, Kyle. You have a good day.
Everyone, we're in transition. We're going to be joined by UT Martin sophomore quarterback John Bacchus III. So he will sit down, and if you have questions for him, go ahead and queue it up in the chat there. Let me know. We'll have him start off with 1 or 2 questions, and then we will get to your questions. We have about 10 minutes for him to answer some questions.